So Senator Bernie Moreno is in this hearing, and he decides to read a text message, one that fantasizes about ending an opponent's children and urinating on their graves. The text was from a Democrat, but the real story is what happened when Moreno asked Democrat Senator Peters to simply condemn it. Let's watch the full clip, and then I'll give you my thoughts at the end.
You know, I think the sarcasm towards the witnesses is uncalled for. I mean, you're asking them to make a decision on the Supreme Court. It's a complicated decision. A lot of the decisions on hiring and firing have come down on the president's side. I mean, frankly, these are open-ended questions. To say that you've concluded and you're smart of the Supreme Court, you're welcome to say that. But to put people on the spot and say, oh, you have no opinion, you're just going to do whatever you want. Well, you know, these are very complicated decisions, and I don't think any of us really know exactly how the Supreme Court's going to rule on this. So I don't like the sarcasm.
Mr. Chairman, this is not before the Supreme Court. That is not even true. Let's at least have facts, Mr. Chairman.
Senator
it is
Moreno,
not before the Supreme Court. Are we just making up facts as we go along
Senator
here?
Moreno.
Oh, my God.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So we talked a little bit this morning about text messages. I thought that was interesting because I've never seen a witness who wasn't here question. But I thought in the spirit of text messages, we should read some. It talks about a text message that was sent out. It says, if you guys die before me, I will go to their funerals to piss on their graves, send them out awash in something. And then talks about how they want the Jennifer Gilbert's children to die in front of her so she can feel pain. That is the candidate for Attorney General from the state of Virginia. Would you, Senator Peters, condemn that text message, asking their children to die in front of their parents and he can go to their funeral and piss on their graves?
I don't believe I'm a witness here today. Thank you,
Okay,
Senator.
so just want to point out for the record that the bar is so low that you can't condemn somebody wanting political violence. Okay, so let's move on. So to Mr. Kirk, Mr. Disposito, Mr. Mooring, when you make decisions to investigate issues, do you go on X, read a post, and then make a decision based on that? Do you like read Newsweek and say, oh my God, this article says that? Or do you, start with you, Mr. Kirk, do you actually perform investigations?
Thank you, Senator, for the question. The role of the Inspector General is to work with facts. And
so what if you read an article on Facebook? That's not enough?
Certainly not enough, no.
How about if Manu Raju asks you a question on the hallway on the way out? Is that enough to make a decision?
Pardon me?
If a CNN reporter asks you a question on the way out, is that enough just to make a decision? My point is, can you walk us through what you actually do to investigate these matters?
Sure. Inspector General's offices have significant numbers of staff of investigators, auditors, and their role is to collect the information from the agency to be able to make a decision based upon criteria.
Does that take 5 minutes, 6 minutes? How long does that take?
It takes months.
Months. Okay. So not 3 minutes in questioning. Mr. Disposito, anything different?
I agree, and I spent my adult career as an investigator in the New York City Police Department. And never once, and I worked for a few different mayors, definitely I don't agree with their political ideologies, but never once did I start an investigation, conduct an investigation, or make an arrest based on someone's political ideologies.
Because you follow the law, that's your job, right?
Correct. I lived the oath that I took and swore, and that badge that I wore on my chest.
And you're going to find the facts no matter where they take you to make certain that you do your job that you're sworn to do, correct?
Absolutely. Exhaust every lead necessary.
Mr. Mooring, how about you? I mean, obviously, the Department of War is a huge agency, and you're going to be charged with a big responsibility. You're going to study these things thoroughly, make sure that only look at facts, not hyperbole or innuendo. Is that correct?
That is correct, Senator. At the department, sources of investigation come from many places. Can come from senators, congressmen, the hotline, whistleblower complaints. There are procedures that are already in place in writing at the department which guide the initiation of investigations.
And you've sworn to uphold the Constitution and the law and to follow it no matter where it goes, correct?
Yes, I do, Senator.
Okay. To the judges, D.C. obviously is a lot going on here, and I assume the same standard holds for the three of you, that you'll follow the law, you'll interpret the Constitution as written?
Yes, Senator.
Yes, Senator.
Senator.
All right, perfect. And Mr. Forrest, I will actually give back time and just give you one piece of advice. Sell, baby, sell. With that, I'll turn it back over to the chairman.
Thank you, Senator.
Senator Slotkin.
Thank you. Thanks to all of you.
That "I don't believe I'm a witness here today" line. It's pathetic. You see the cowardice, and then you see the complicity right underneath it. That's the real takeaway for me. It's absolute 100% complicity. And you have to remember where that text message even came from. This came from their guy. This was the Democrat nominee for Attorney General of Virginia, Jay Jones, the guy, they want to be the top cop. And the text itself, it's demonic. Fantasizing about taking out your opponent in the head, comparing him to Hitler. But then it gets so much sicker, the part about his opponent's wife, Jennifer Gilbert, and her children, explicitly hoping she holds one of her children as they passed, just so she could feel pain. Who thinks like that, let alone writes it down and sends it to someone? And Senator Peters, nothing, sits there. I'm not a witness. It was the easiest question in the world. It was a total softball. All he had to do was say, yes, that's horrific, and move on. But he couldn't. He couldn't bring himself to do it. It proves the whole game. The entire Democrat Party is completely terrified of its own rabid base. They cannot condemn anything, no matter how vile, no matter how evil. If it comes from their own side, the bar is on the floor. No, it's under the floor. At this point, you have to say, this is their platform. This is what they do. They spend all day screaming threats to democracy at us. Meanwhile, you've got party leaders like Maxine Waters still in Congress telling her followers to create a crowd and push back on Republicans. Harass them at dinner, at gas stations. They're not welcome. Or how about Chuck Schumer, standing on the steps of the Supreme Court, screaming at Gorsuch and Kavanaugh, "You will pay the price." He literally threatened 2 sitting justices. That was so bad, even Chief Justice John Roberts had to come out and publicly condemn it. So Senator Peters is silent. Of course he is. He's silent while his political allies in Jane's Revenge are firebombing pro-life pregnancy centers. He's silent while Antifa riots and burns cities and causes billions in damage. That's the political violence they're all perfectly fine with. But, and this is the really brilliant part, Senator Moreno didn't stop there. He didn't just rest on the hypocrisy. He pivots. He immediately uses the rest of his time to go after the other pillar of their corruption, the 2-tiered justice system. That was the real kill shot. He gets these bureaucrats, the IG, the former cop, to go on the record under oath. Do you use a Newsweek article, a CNN hit, a tweet? And they all have to sit there and say, oh no, Senator, we use facts. We follow the law. Our investigations take months. What a complete joke. These people are either perjuring themselves or they're just the stupidest people in Washington. The FBI's own memo, the one from the Richmond field office, it targeted Catholics, radical traditionalist Catholics, as potential domestic terrorists. And their factual source, the SPLC, a disgraced far-left partisan smear machine. So much for facts. And they don't act on partisan letters? Really? Merrick Garland launched a nationwide investigation into parents at school board meetings, labeling them domestic terrorists. And he did it based on one single letter from the NSBA that we know was cooked up with the White House to silence them. The entire multi-year crossfire hurricane witch hunt, the whole Russia hoax was launched using the Steele dossier, a piece of literal paid for by Hillary fan fiction. This is the 2-tiered system right in front of your face. For patriots, for parents, for President Trump, a fake partisan dossier is enough to get you raided by the FBI. For Democrats like Jay Jones, a documented fantasy about ending children, you don't even get a talking to. This is the new playbook. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. While you're down there, hit the like button and subscribe. I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.